And welcome to our Adobe live streams from the sofa. This is a new format that we've invented a week ago in Germany that we decided, like with all the situation going on, we're all away from the office and probably on our couches and sofas and kitchens like myself. And we wanted to be in touch with the community. So we started doing that in Germany last week on a daily basis. And this is exactly what we're doing here on Adobe Live on behance.net/live. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can continue to do so if you wish, but it's advised to come over to Behance because this is where the chat is. And the cool thing about these Adobe Lives, and this is actually the first time we do an Adobe Live with UK artists, like focusing on the UK at a UK time, like noon to 1, and we're going to be here every day this week and the week after, and then we'll see where it takes us. So welcome everybody in the chat. There's over 200 people watching already. Sir Eki, Jack, Joey, Alex, Zoe, Chris, Gavin, Solomon, Keith. Welcome everybody, and this is exactly what I want to see here happening in the UK as well. My name is Rufus Deutschler, for those of you who don't know me. I'm currently in Italy. I'm based in Florence, and that's where I'm streaming from. And together with me, I have Stephanie. Stephanie is my colleague from the London office, and as you can see, she's not in the office either. She's on her couch. Hello, Stephanie.
Hi, Rufus.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to Adobe Live from the sofa. And our guest today, the one and only Dan Mumford. Hey, Dan.
Hi, everyone. Hey.
Where are you?
I'm currently in Rickmansworth, which is just outside of London, living with my partner and mother-in-law.
All right.
So, yeah.
How's that working out? Your isolation?
It's okay. Yeah, it's not bad. Like we've got countryside. We have a river just outside the back door, and I have this little corner right here, which is on the dining room table. It's a little bit dark, a little bit gloomy, but it's because I can't have light on the screen and stuff. But yeah, it's okay. I'm getting stuff done.
Awesome. Yeah. And of course, for everybody who's joining just now, the cool thing about Adobe Live is that you can interact with us with the chat here on behance.net/live, ask questions. We're going to be talking with Dan today, but we have a list of guests for the remainder of the week of people who are working in the UK and who are going to show their creative skills in a variety of different fields, from illustration to photography to design. Tomorrow we're going to have design tomorrow. Yeah, a surprise guest, but I will be posting that later on in the day so you can discover who that person is. So welcome everybody, and let's get started because it's a short, compressed amount of time. We have 1 hour with Dan, so let's make the most of it. Dan, why don't you start talking a little bit about who you are, what you do, and introduce yourself to the Adobe Live crowd. Okay. I love this community. 300 people there already. Unbelievable.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, well, yeah, I am a freelance illustrator. I have been for about 12 years, 13 years, something like that. And I mainly work in sort of pop culture. So we're talking movies and comic books and all that sort of stuff that you might see at somewhere like Comic-Con. Just fun stuff that I enjoy, basically. All the stuff that I enjoyed as a kid. And yeah, no, I've been doing that for quite a while now, and I've.
So we could see some examples of your work on your desktop there.
Oh right, yeah, you got that up, yeah. Yeah, so like just going through my website here, got basically most of my recent work on here. I keep this fairly updated, and also my website I have quite a few videos. Quite a few that I've done with Adobe in the past. So, if I get a lot of people asking me about how I do certain things and questions and things, but I've actually got loads of videos on my website. So that's also if you're interested in my work, that's quite a good resource to check out. And then, of course, I've got a store up right now. Support all your favorite artists. Get out there and help them out, because right now it's a bit of an odd time. I still have work that's happening, but things are getting cancelled and jobs aren't happening and stuff. So if you can, and there's an artist you enjoy, you support them. Support small business, as you would say. So yeah, it's a strange time, but I'm trying to carry on working.
And absolutely, this is one of the reasons why we do these daily streams with UK artists, is to give everybody the opportunity to show their work and show their store. For example, like in your case, not everybody has one. So, for example, in Germany, one of the community members in the chat has opened a T-shirt store where everybody from the community can send their artwork in, and they'll make a T-shirt, and then like give the money to them, to whoever designed it. So I'm hoping to see some of that happening in the UK as well, because it's a very strong community, and I think there's many things that we can do together to support each other.
Yeah, there are a few things. I've heard a few rumblings of a few things happening like that already. And the question is, can the production plants for stuff like that stay open? Right now, it looks like they can. So we're in a position where I kind of feel like if you can support those people, do it now, because who knows where we're going to be in a few weeks. Hopefully, we're going to be on the downward curve, but it's an unknown.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We're not going to get into that. That's fine.
Yeah, let's not. This is all irrelevant. We're like, well, not so much. But anyway, there's a first question here from Lucas, who's asking: are these projects commercial or just for fun?
Nearly, I would say 95% commercial. So I work with a lot of galleries and basically license holders. So, companies that own these products or these, whatever it might be, toys, video games, movies. And so it's a multitude of stuff. I'm not really locked into one specific area that I work with or sort of stuff like that. Of course, I do some personal stuff, but
even music. Like I loved your Eddie Vedder poster.
Yeah. I do.
I love your like Eddie Vedder poster.
Oh, hang on a second. Maybe you want to tell me your address, Rufus.
No. I'll go to the store if it's available there.
Do you know what?
I have another.
I was going to say the Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam stuff. People go crazy for that, but they're a big band, so
yeah. Kate says, "Hi Dan, I've been such a fan of your work for ages, and was just wondering how you're still maintaining your creative flow. I've been having such a hard time focusing properly."
Well, I think you'll be seeing a lot of people saying this right now, but it's about routine, maintaining a routine of some sort. So obviously, right now my routine has been completely thrown out the window. Normally I would go into my studio where I had everything set up, and my day would be broken into doing mail order and emails and then doing some work. And now it's kind of getting up and sitting down. Like, do you know what I mean? There's not much in between. So luckily I think I mentioned I'm right by quite a big park that has a lake. It's literally outside the door. So at the moment me and my partner were able to sort of go for a daily walk, and we're doing that in the morning as if we're sort of getting up, getting changed, walking to work, and then also stopping work at about 6 p.m. And also weekend just gone, Saturday, Sunday, I didn't do any work. So I'm trying to pretend things are normal, and it sort of tricks your body and mind slightly, even though the environment might be different. But I mean, I'm not going to lie, I've had some really down moments in the last few weeks because it just feels like stuff's been stripped away. And, stuff I've been working to build up, like my business for the last 10 years, aspects of that aren't there right now. Hopefully they will be very soon. But we're all gonna feel some glum times right now. But just try and focus and exercise if you can, stuff like that. Yeah.
Wow, so many new people in the chat as well. And Stephanie, if you see any cool questions, don't hesitate to jump into the conversation. And Dan, why don't we switch to your tool of choice?
Okay,
so
yeah.
See how you do these things.
Well, actually, this is pretty cool because this is the first time I've been able to do a stream with my Cintiq, which is my main tool of work. Normally, we do it with the iPad, and I'm doing the same stuff, but it's not me in my full power, if you will. So what I'm going to do today is show a few things that I've like to do with my work, and things that people ask lots of questions about. So I'm just going to show a piece actually here. So this piece here, there's a lot of straight lines in it, right? And people will sort of be like, well, how are you doing all these really crazy straight lines and yet have a sort of hand-drawn feel to it? And it's really simple, and I'm going to show me doing some of that right now. So if I just get rid of this. So basically, right, here's my setup on the Cintiq. Very, I've got everything in places that work for me. Couple of things that I have set up are the, is this going to show up? Yeah, so we got the express keys on the side. So these are the ones I have for the touch strip, which is on the back of the Cintiq. And rotate is like my best friend. So basically that's a giant strip on the back of the Cintiq that it allows you to just do this with the slide of your finger, which is the best thing ever. And then I have all my express keys set up on the side for like brush, eraser, undo. So I have a really quick flow while I'm working. And what I'm going to do, basically I'm going to draw some crystals. And that sounds like an odd thing to do, but I can't really draw like a full piece in an hour. So I'm just going to show, right, so that's a perfectly straight line. And all I've done there is I have the little button on the side here set to shift, and shift allows you to have a perfectly straight line within Photoshop. So I just hold down the side of that and then just go like that. And you get these perfectly straight lines. Now, that combined with rotate allows me to do some kind of cool shapes and stuff. And this is something that I use a lot in my work to get all these perspectives and things. And I just think it's something that a lot of people don't really think about, I suppose. And I don't really know why. It's not like a hidden secret or something. But also, so I've got the brush there, and I've got my express keys, so I can quickly jump between erase and brush. So that again is something that's really important to me. Oh, I've accidentally drawn on the background of that new layer. So we'll just start again. But that was just me showing you the sort of stuff I do. So.
Oh, I didn't realize we had music on the stream, so maybe we could turn that off, Tim. There's a lot of talking going on in this hour, so I don't think we need the music. Thanks for saying that in the chat. And let's see if we can turn the music off. And yeah, some people have there. Let me see if I see anything else. Yeah, and basically the rotate, you have it like a function on your Cintiq, but basically it's just pressing the R key, right? R and then moving around.
Oh yeah, if you were using the keyboard, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's exactly the same. But it's the touch strip's like a really cool function of the. To be fair, this is the Cintiq 22 HD, and I don't know that the newer ones have it actually, because this is quite an old model. I think it's all on the that like express remote thing, which is a shame. But.
And Kirsty's asking what?
Yeah, what program you're using? If it's Photoshop or Illustrator.
This is Photoshop.
Do you draw in Illustrator as well?
Not really. I just don't really like Illustrator. It doesn't really work for me. The most I use Illustrator for really is to do to like vector trace stuff if I have to. But I tend not to use it really. I prefer Photoshop and its pixels. I like pixels.
Yeah, it's a different tool. It's a different tool, and and I know that you, Dan, use Adobe Fresco a lot as well.
Yeah,
And maybe, maybe that
Fresco
can
and
be.
I was just going to say Fresco and Draw. I actually really like. I mean, weirdly, I really like Adobe Draw, which is vector based. But the reason is because it allows me to do incredibly smooth drawings whilst traveling. You know, so if I'm like on a plane, weirdly, I do a lot of work on planes if I have a long flight, and it just sort of allows you to do really smooth drawing. And I don't, once you get used to the way Adobe Draw works, I think it's a really good program.
So there's a question from Solomon. This can be done. It could be done with a mouse, Solomon. Although you don't have the pressure sensitiveness of the pen that that a Cintiq or an iPad or a tablet gives. The iPad and the Apple Pencil you could actually use to actually draw in Photoshop with the new feature in Catalina called Sidecar. Yeah, basically you can use. Yeah, you can actually use your iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil to actually draw exactly like Dan is doing it right now in Photoshop.
Yeah, I haven't tried Sidecar yet. I'd really like to because I have my iPad, and I just got. Of course, I just bought a brand new computer like 2 weeks ago before this all happened. I was like, that was an expense I could have done without. But I have a brand new computer that I want to try using Sidecar with, because I think Sidecar is reliant on how fast your computer is. I guess it turns it into just a second screen essentially.
Yeah, it turns it into a second screen, just like the Cintiq, really.
Yeah,
and
I need to try that.
Sam says, I admire I admire you being honest. That tool doesn't work for you. Okay, yeah, that's I mean, of course, not all tools work for everybody. It is really about how we feel about our tools that leads to the result that makes a difference. Absolutely. And Jonathan says, "What
Jonathan.
do you?" Yeah, go ahead.
He's asking, what do you do when someone says they want to print it on a bus? Won't you be limited with the pixels?
Well, I tend to find out what the job's going to be beforehand, or what the output is. Also, I work at a really high resolution. Like, you could put most of my work on the side of a bus and it would look fine. I think you'll find as well that when something's going to be printed that big, if you look up close, the resolution's awful anyway. Like, if like you're on the subway or the tube in London, have a look at the posters on the other side, and they're awful resolution. Like, they're not high res or anything.
No,
so
they're meant to be looked at from a distance. So
yeah, exactly. So I've never had that actually be a problem. Maybe one day. And again, you can actually, like, Illustrator's really good now at auto tracing stuff. So I've pulled in some really complex Photoshop images into Illustrator, just pressed a button with a few tweaks, and it gives you a pretty good like version of that as a vector. And especially if it's going to be something that's on like a building, like, it's perfect for that. So yeah, not being an issue I've come up against. But,
and Pro Designer asking, can you share the specs? Oh, at Lauren Murphy. No, that's
Lucas has a question. He's asking, do you think you have your style because of talent or more about training and eye?
Well, my style kind of comes from a love of comic books and stuff. And I think, I took drawing and illustration seriously when I was around 19, 20. And I'm 36 now. So, around 16 years of just drawing constantly. And this is pretty much all I've been doing, apart from a few experimentations at university. And I'll be honest, like, I loved my university course, but they didn't particularly train us in anything. They would give us advice and sort of say, why don't you explore that path? And that was fantastic for me, because like the tutors there really did just sort of embrace what you were good at or what you enjoyed doing. And it was a fantastic course. That was at Brighton University. And that allowed me to sort of develop this style. And if you look back like 10 years to what I was doing then and what I'm doing now, you can tell it's me, but they've evolved, if you will. But that's just it's just time, you know. You do stuff like that.
So
was also
James,
my
I know.
university.
Wait, there's James who can't hear the conversation, but there's a big button on the screen. Let me just write to James.
Oh,
I was also at Brighton Uni.
oh, really? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great
yeah.
university.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Made a lot of great friends there. Great town, and yeah, I really did sort of just explore my style there. And the last year of university, I started to develop this sort of heavy line work with bright colors. Also, I used to only work in black and white. I couldn't use color. So, which is interesting considering my work now is like all color. So, you know, I would also say if there are people out there that hate color or don't know how to work with color, start with one color, add another color. Before you know it, you'll be using the whole rainbow like me. So
that's a very good tip.
Yeah, just don't go all in straight away. And don't worry too much about it.
Oh, and Kirsty would like to go to Brighton University. Okay,
good, go for it.
Yeah,
so it's a very good university.
And Sam is asking you, do you have any advice to those on the panel listening to keep our curiosity going in these stressful times? I ask because stress can eat away at creative curiosity. Oh, the panel listen to those on. Oh, do you have any advice to those on the panel listening to keep our curiosity going in these stressful times? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. To keep your curiosity going. I don't know. I mean, I would say change things up. Like if you're struggling or if you're like looking at work and trying to draw and you just can't get anything coming out, do something completely different. Like if you've got like a guitar that you've been meaning to learn how to play for the last 5 years, do that for a couple of days. Just do something completely different. That's always, and again, right now, this is very hard to do. It's not like you can go out and get inspiration from museums or anything. But, you know, just do something that you wouldn't normally do. You might learn something that you can then bring back into your work, if you will. Something I've been meaning to do for a long time is like start painting again, like actual physical paint. And I can imagine that would bring new ideas and new techniques to my color theory. And, you know, when I come back to working on the computer, you know, your brain will sort of have these ideas and techniques. And, you know, I just say change it up if you're struggling a bit. Again, as with everything right now, it's easier said than done. But, you know, I think that always helps, definitely.
We have a question from Richard. I've been doing a lot of illustration and animation on iPad Pro. Would it be worthwhile trying a Cintiq? Yeah, I mean,
I started on the Cintiq. Well, actually, I started with the little Wacom that you drew on top of.
That's what I'm
using. To be honest, yeah, I mean, it works just as well.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
I think right now, if you're working on the iPad, you're kind of, what I would say is try a Cintiq. See if there's a place you can try. Obviously, right now, you can't go to like a shop and try it. But, you know, because they are quite expensive. And some people just don't get on with them. But they're really good, like in terms of like the fidelity and everything. But iPads are pretty close.
Yeah, and what I always say is that before going out and buying a Cintiq or things like that, try it. You know, like even rent one if you have to, like just to see if it's the tool for you, because you know it's not necessarily the tool for everyone. No. Some people feel comfortable with it, others don't. So don't go buy one and and then have the buyer's remorse.
Definitely, but if you have a friend that has one or something like that, or most of the, I mean, Adobe Max every year they've always got like Cintiqs to try it and stuff. And where else? I was at Comic-Con the last 2 years. They always had a stand there. So a lot of, and in London as well, they had a stand at the London Comic Convention. So I think a lot of these conventions, they actually will have big stands. And those conventions are actually, some of the ones like think the London Comic Con, it's only like £25 or something. So, you know, if that's worth going to check that they're there whenever the next convention is. But that would definitely be worth going to check them out, because they have all the brand new ones and stuff. And that's really good. In fact, that's the last, I tried out the brand new one recently, and I'd like to upgrade to that at some point. But I will miss the express keys and the touch strip. They're my favorite things. I don't know why they got rid of them. They're great.
Well, usually we get rid of things like at Adobe, or like, I guess Wacom is the same if they see that hardly anybody's using them. So, but then there's always a Dan Mumford somewhere, right, that uses them.
Yeah. I know. To be fair, this Cintiq is really old now. I guess it's about, I think it's a 2008 model. It can't be that old. Maybe it is. Either way.
It could be. I've seen artists on Adobe Live come with their I don't know, bamboo from like Wacom bamboo from ages ago, you know, and it still works. So
well, that's the thing. If it works, the problem actually comes when you upgrade your operating system. I've had quite a few problems in the past when I've upgraded. I upgraded to Catalina. That's the new one, right? Yeah, I upgraded to Catalina recently, and it works. But occasionally, it's the sort of thing like you'll turn off the computer and you turn it back on. It's like, there's no Cintiq here. What are you talking about? It's like, no, there definitely is a Cintiq there. It's plugged in. But there's,
and David is asking you, is your glove part of the Cintiq?
The glove. You need this magic glove. Also, actually, if you're working on an iPad, get a magic glove. It's really baggy as well. It doesn't fit me. But it means when the screen gets hot, you can just slide over it. And actually working on iPads, people will probably have found it gets really sticky and it gets really hot. So the magic glove, it might look stupid. The people in my studio might make fun of me. They call it the wizard's glove, but I think it's very fashionable. So I think everyone should get one.
I've had guests on Adobe Live that even make them themselves, you know, like cutting away a few fingers and things like that.
Yeah, no, it's weirdly useful, and they only cost like £3 or something if you want to get one from, I don't know, Amazon or wherever. So definitely get one. It'll change your life.
There's a question from Marina. Yeah.
Go ahead.
She's asking if you're currently signed with an agent. Yes, I am. I'm with Central Illustration Agency, or CIA, and they're based in London. And they're really good. Yeah, they get me. They get me some jobs. They weirdly they'll get me jobs that I wouldn't normally get. So I've done quite a few book covers in the last couple of years, and that's all through them. And that's a part of the industry that I don't know at all. So, you know, I sort of cover the movie poster side of things, and they cover more like advertising and book covers and stuff like that. And I think, you know, a lot of people ask, actually, should I get an agent, or is having an agent a good thing? I would say the right agent, definitely, because, you know, for me, they're just another person on my side, if you will. I'm not, you know, I don't have to exclusively do all my work through them or anything. Any of the clients, obviously that work goes through them. But you know, it's fantastic having them, because if I have questions about something or a contractual thing, they're always there to help, if you will. So I would say, yeah, having an agent is it's a useful tool, and I think it's good to have.
So let me ask one question to the chat here, because we're over 300 here now. And I just wanted to ask you, do you like this format? This is the first day that we do it on this beautiful Monday, at least, well, it's beautiful Monday. And yeah, I just want to have your feedback in the chat. If you like this format, we're doing it this 1 hour per day from noon to 1 with UK artists, and your feedback would be very welcome. So I understand if we could change anything, or if you have suggestions, or even if there's people you want to see on this Adobe Live from the sofa.
Yeah. We were talking about me doing a whole 24 hours, right? We're going to do that.
Yeah,
just
24 hours
pure
with
me.
Dan Mumford. Yeah,
yeah,
pure. Yeah. But we know you switch off your computer at 6. So.
I'd move to the sofa for that. I'd put some nice things behind me, and people could get involved. The cat could come along. Yeah, it'd be great.
We have a question from Martin. He's asking, how do you choose your brush settings?
Okay. So weirdly, I don't really have anything that fancy. I'm sorry, I put that in the middle. I have, these are like my favorite brushes, and Old Classic at the top there is default brush. That's literally the one you open Photoshop with for the very first time. And I have the hardness set all the way up. And I have the, pressure sensitivity turned on. No smoothing. And then I have a few other brushes for textures and stuff. They don't get used that much. That would be generally for background elements, or maybe if I need to just add a texture across a plain surface. But basically I work at around 400 to 500 DPI, depending on the piece, which is not necessary normally, but it does mean that I just have a bit more fidelity. So if I'm working on a piece that's this big, like in reality, it's, this big. And then generally around size 30, I think. Yeah. A lot of the time I just play it by ear. There's no pure sort of set rules for that stuff, but just a high resolution, that's generally the best way I find, because you can, being bigger is always better. It always frustrates me when I'm working with someone or I see a project and they're like, what am I going to do with this piece? It's like this big and it's 100 DPI. Like always work at least 300 DPI and check what size your canvas is. Very important.
And Dan, can you hear me? Dan, yeah, okay. It's half an hour now, and you haven't saved.
Oh my God. Oh dear. Okay. You know what? Doesn't matter. Let's see. Save as desktop. What should call it? Call it crystals. My keyboard's hidden now. I have to go under here. It's like underneath my Cintiq. There's not enough room. And save. There you happy?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm just going to give a few answers to the chat here. All right. Enjoying the lunchtime chat. Very, very good. And maybe for future episodes, that can be a quick draw along tutorial. That's a very good idea. And
that is a good idea.
You might not know that, but Kyle Webster has joined my team over the weekend. So, and he's very good at doing these draw along sessions. And then Sam, the format is fabulous and very generous offering, but I would love to see some curation of the best of the advice in the daily offerings to best of the advice in the daily offerings to. Okay, so I don't get that question, but don't worry. Of course, this is curated. Of course, my list of guests is already half prepared for the next weeks. The reason why I leave it a little bit mysterious is that I want you to come and, even if you're not into illustration, I think there's something really valuable to learn from Dan, for example. Or if, let's say, tomorrow is a photographer and you're not into photography, but only into illustration, maybe you wouldn't come along, and maybe, basically these live sessions from the sofa are really meant to get the community together, have a quick chat over noon, from noon to 1 every day. And this is why I keep it a little bit mysterious. But don't worry, there is no mystery in my master plan.
He knows what he's doing.
That sounds very ominous, yeah. There is no mystery in my master plan.
I like that voice. You should do that for all your live streams.
We had a question from Sam. What advice can you give to someone who is just starting as a creative illustrator?
I mean, it depends what sort of thing you're doing or what you've been doing in the past. I think if you're just starting out and you literally have like no basis in illustration, then I would say just draw what you enjoy, and just sort of, you know, try out different techniques and things. Have a look at artists whose work you enjoy, and try and maybe if they've got tutorials or videos, go along with that. In fact, I think tutorials is probably a good starting point if you've not really done much before.
And for those of you in the chat, especially Sam and some people that would think a tutorial would be helpful, I do have somebody very tutorial minded up later this week, and I can already say specifically on Friday. Yeah, so on Friday it'll be very tutorial kind of thing and tips and tricks. But like I said, in these Adobe Live sessions from the sofa, it's also very important to get together with the community, to get together with artists like Dan, and to discover their art, their way of working, and ask questions. And by asking the questions to Dan, that's how you can gather tips and tricks. Like somebody discovered today that pressing the R key rotates your canvas.
That is a great tip to find out, I think. One of my favorite things in the world. So actually, just for anyone that's watching right now, or wondering what I'm doing, what I've done is I've duplicated the color layers, and I've made one of them darker. And let me just pull this across. And what I'm doing is, this is quite an easy way to, good way to shade. Like, just make a top layer that's darker, and then erase, as opposed to sort of doing it the other way around. Like, I do a bit of both, like maybe putting darker colors on top of lighter colors, but this is quite a nice, easy way. I also use the lasso tool for this sometimes and just cut shapes out. Yeah, just thought I'd add that in. So I'm going to try and fully color these in some nice glowing crystals. What have we got? We've got that long. All right,
that way you also have some interesting shading happening already, like some shadow casting that you would have to color in a second time.
It's weirdly easier to do it this way around, because immediately you sort of see how nice something can look with dark colors around it, like heavy shading. Or thinking about light sources, light sources. That's a very important thing to keep in mind for me personally, because it sort of, you know, it impacts imagery in a big way. So yeah, I just sort of take elements out, and I'm going to try and make these crystals really glow by the end of this. So it might be a bit messy.
You have 25 more minutes to make them glow.
I can do that.
You can do that.
We have a question from Mamta. She's asking if you offer your clients different options, or you just show them one option and you decide.
Well, that really depends on the job. Generally, do you know what? One thing I do that I think some people don't do is when I'm giving someone sketches, I will give them one sketch, maybe two. And I think that's the best way to do things, because I know some people will go like, hey, here's 10 sketches, what do you like? And then you'll find the client go, I like this bit from this one, this bit from this one, this bit from this one, this bit from this one. And I don't know that that's a really productive way necessarily. I think it works for some people, but for me, that doesn't work. And I also like to sort of be like, here's the one or two sketches for this project. As far as I'm concerned, this is the strongest way to do this. It doesn't mean it's the correct way, and it doesn't mean it's going to be what you end up doing, but this is my view of what I think is the best way to do things. And from there you discuss, like it's all about working with your client and, you know, discussing the best way to do things. But I would say, you know, don't overindulge or sort of, what's the word? Like, don't put too many options forward, because some clients will just be like, oh my God, I don't know what to choose, you know? And then when it comes to actual final art, like I generally tend to quite carefully have what we're doing in place with a sketch. So my sketches, I tend to have them be very colored. The detail's not there, but you know what you're going to get. So that way, that sort of tends to avoid having to change too much when it comes to the final pieces, because it can be really frustrating if you've spent ages doing a piece of work. Maybe you spent 5 days on it, and then they go, "Oh, you know what? I don't really like how that guy looks over there," or something. So I think it's important to get a lot of stuff down as much as you can in a sketch format. One thing I will say as well, though, is that sometimes clients will want 5 sketches, or like they need 5 sketches. And if that's what the contract dictates, that's what we do. But I will always be like, this is what I think works best. But again, that doesn't mean it's correct. It's all about working with the client and making sure you communicate. That's what I'd say.
And Theo is asking you, would you use a mask layer instead of erasing?
You could do that, yeah. I've done that sometimes, but this works best for me. I mean, what I'm gonna do something now where I'm gonna select. So I've selected outside, then I'm gonna invert that selection. So I've just got the inside of those crystals selected, and now I'm just gonna do a little bit of dark color. Let's go around here. So I've just got that area selected. So, you know, I kind of do like, I don't know, I guess it's like manual masking. But I learned everything in Photoshop myself. I didn't really go do things the correct way necessarily. So what I do is very much a sort of mixture of me learning stuff along the way and making that work with the things that I already do. But yeah, masking is good.
Anita Lima, why is poor old InDesign always put on the back burner? It's neglected. How can you say it's neglected if this is our first live stream from the UK? But anyway, I put it down on my list, Anita, and let's see if we can get some UK, because this is all about, you know, there's I guess tons of things as well on the US Behance live streams. But here, what I'm trying to do is really focus on the UK community with UK artists, or at least artists living in the UK and who are creating content for the UK. So this is what this is all about, these live streams from the sofa. I
mean, I can pull InDesign up, but I'll just have my invoice and stuff in it. It won't be very interesting.
There was a question from Alicia. She's asking, how did you fill your diamonds all at once?
What did I do? So what I did is I selected, I can do it again quickly. So if I just get rid of this. So I've got the diamonds, magic wand, and I selected outside, and then select inverse, and now I've selected the opposite, and then just a new layer with a paint bucket, just like that, simple. So nothing too fancy there, but that's how I did the base one, and in fact, that's how I'm doing it every time I want to select just inside. So just a magic wand and select inverse up here. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some sort of brighter color. I don't really know what color to do. Pink, there we go.
We have a few people asking if they can watch a replay of this session. They just tuned in.
Yes, of course they can. And I think Tim already answered in the chat about that. All you have to do is scroll down this page or go to behance.net/live, and all the replays will be there. And our replays are super easy to recognize because it's got the UK flag on them. As a graphic designer myself, it made my heart bleed to put a flag on a design, but it was the only way to make it so that people can recognize actually the content that we're streaming with UK artists. So
wait, is that a thing? You don't like putting flags on things?
Yes, it's a bit tacky, isn't it? No, it's like
oh, that's great.
Like putting little flags, like a German flag, a Swiss flag, a UK flag. US
Okay, yeah, I
flag.
get it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do.
Maybe Dan can draw a new UK flag that looks more stylish.
Yeah. There you go.
I did a UK flag icon once, so not as fancy as Dan's drawings, obviously, because I'm a UX designer, but yeah. Robzilla is asking if you're selling the prints.
Rob, what does he want?
What does Rob want?
What does Rob want?
Robzilla.
Yeah.
I'm only joking, Rob. Prints of this, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know if I can get to a post office these days at the moment. But I need to, I mean, I have my store open with stuff in it at the moment, and I'm trying to work out the best way to do new things, because currently if you order stuff from me, it'll sort of be, unfortunately, it'll be, I'll send it out when I can get back to the studio. But I think I might look at some people that are sort of doing fulfillment right now, because there are, we talked about this a little bit at the top, didn't we? But there's some people, some places that are doing things like, you know, produce your design and we will ship it out for people. I think I might look into doing something special like that in the next week or so, actually. I think that'd be quite fun to do.
And Lee Barker says, "Hey Dan, longtime fan of your work. 2 questions. Why Photoshop and not Illustrator? We've partly answered that before, but maybe you can say it again. And secondly, please do a side project of Liverpool's 3 Graces."
What's Liverpool's 3 Graces? That's probably something I should know.
I guess we'll have to Google that.
I'm not sure what it is.
I don't know either.
Hey, you guys keep chatting. I'm just going to have a look at my phone here. Liverpool's 3 Graces. Is that a place, I reckon, maybe?
I've never been to Liverpool before, have you?
I think I went there once.
No, I haven't been there yet.
It's lots of buildings. I think it's buildings. They're very nice buildings.
Okay.
I have done, do you know what? I've done quite a few buildings recently for show posters for gigs and stuff. And that's the sort of thing I could see happening if I did a poster for a show in Liverpool. That would probably be like one of the venues, not venue, but that'd be like a landmark that we sort of go, okay, that's the one to do, you know, because that is a very impressive looking.
And John is asking, where can we find Dan's previous work on Behance?
Dan Mumford Draws should be up there under that.
Dan Mumford Draws. Oh, there we go. Tim just posted. Yeah, danmumford.com and then behance.net, Dan Mumford Draws. Yeah, that's the one. And Jamie says, go to Liverpool. It's the best. Okay, now the chat is going to be full. Go to where I am. That's the best.
Well, we can't go anywhere right now.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky at the moment.
Yeah.
But later in the year, maybe we can do a trip together.
We will go to Liverpool. Yeah, we will go to Liverpool. Yeah.
Samson is asking, what are the advantages and disadvantages between working as a freelancer and working in-house?
Well, there's loads. I mean, I'm technically a company now. Like I set that up a couple of years ago, but I'm still just me. I employ me, which has its benefits and other things. Being self-employed essentially means that, or running a small business, kind of just means that, you know, if I want to go on holiday, I can. Again, not right now, but you know, it's been pretty good in the last few years, because I'll sort of go, okay, I'm going to work like crazy for the next month, but next month I'm going to take off 3 weeks and we're going to go on holiday, me and my partner, for example. Like, you know, those are the benefits. The negatives, of course, are that work is never assured. You don't know that things are going to always be coming in, but you know, I'm lucky that currently, well, just about, but currently I have work on a fairly regular basis. So, you know, it's if you have an in-house job, then and it works and you enjoy it, then, you know, I wouldn't say give up that job. It really depends what you want to do. There's no correct answer there, to be honest with you.
Jamie is asking, how do you know when your drawing is finished?
You never know. It's never finished. It's never finished. Like right now, it's finished nearly because we've got 10 minutes left. So what I'm going to do some fancy color stuff. So this is roughly colored. It's not quite the colors I want, but the end thing I nearly always do with my work is I go and play with hue and saturation.
Whoa.
And all this sort of stuff. Yeah. So we're going with that red sort of pinky color. So then I think something like this. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a mask. I do use them occasionally, and use a gradient and do something like this. There we go. It's pretty cool. And while the mask is there, you can still keep playing around with it. So yeah, it's a bit better. And then I might do another one. Let's do. So this is really, I love doing this stuff. It always comes together right at the end, I think. Like nearly always with my work. I do all of these rough color plans within sketches because you kind of need to have a rough idea of where things are gonna land, if you will. Okay. So I'm just going to merge those together actually now. Got a lovely colored crystal. Maybe we'll go in color balance, sort of tweak it out a bit.
And Rob Zilla says, do a GIF with hue changes.
That would be pretty good actually. Actually, that would be really good for Instagram, yeah. I need to talk to Musketon. He does loads of GIFs. He's the GIF king at the moment. He loves his GIFs. Okay, let's do a background quickly.
Jack is asking if you're still working on any projects in Aero.
In Aero? Not for the last. I did some before Christmas. I did some stuff there. But nothing. Currently.
I know that you became very famous in the Aero community because your artwork was shown on the Max keynote, where we used your illustration to create an illustration that you can actually walk into. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was pretty amazing, actually. Like that was, obviously I've been to Max for the last 4 years, and but that was a highlight. Like not last, it was the year before, and I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. I had little goosebumps when that was up on stage. That was great.
Like the hair there going up a little bit here.
Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it. Okay, I'm going to do something really quickly. Little light source thing. Let's do a pink one. So I'm going to do a big circle, and then I'm going to mask that again with a gradient. So I'm going quite quickly at the moment, but I just want to get all these little tricks in there. So what I've done there is I've made this sort of little light source, and I can pop that behind. Maybe I'll do that. See, it's got that little glow. And now I'm going to duplicate that again, if my computer lets me. Yeah, duplicate again. And I'm going to do a yellow one this time. So I'm just doing a color overlay. I love that you can do stuff like that, like just sort of do a color overlay on like a transparent thing. I don't know. There's all these little tricks and stuff. I love doing them. And now I'm going to make the yellow one a bit smaller, bit of glow. There you go. That's looking pretty nice, I think. Not bad for an hour. Maybe we'll do the same thing again. Oh, that's a bit better, isn't it?
And out of the darkness.
Yeah. Cool. I'm pretty happy with these. Let's see. Anyone got any more quick questions? We've got
there's quick questions here. So Billy says, I'm teaching myself Photoshop. How long did it take you? Did it take it before you felt confident enough to apply for work?
Do you know what? It was never a case of that. I would do stuff. I actually did most of my work by hand for the first few years before moving completely to Photoshop. So what I would do is I would scan drawings in, and then I would kind of like stained glass windows do like paint bucket into all the little black holes and stuff. So that's why some of my earlier work's quite crude in how it sort of comes across. But I was doing work then. I was working for clients. It was a lot. They were smaller clients. It was a lot more sort of like bands and stuff like that, just doing merch. But there was never any point where I was like, I'm ready to go. I think just go for it. Just jump in.
Yeah. Like myself, I started doing business cards for local tattoo artists and the local pub and things like that. And then, you know, slowly you build up a body of work, and people say, oh, well, that's cool. You know, I could use some graphics like that.
Yeah, totally. Like there's never any point, particularly when you go, I'm ready to go. It's just sort of, you know.
And Alex is a student. I've just started doing my graphic design course for my A levels. I did that too. Yeah, A levels in Somerset.
Yeah,
that's where I did my A levels in graphic design. Yeah. We need to create many logos of a cake brand that we have come up with. What intricate techniques would you recommend trying out? Like for color changes? I would definitely try to use Illustrator for that. Like if you know, you can like change the color palettes and like say, oh, I want pastel colors, or I want poppy colors, or this, and it's called recolor artwork in Illustrator. And this is one thing that I've used a lot when creating variations and things like that of logos and things like that. Or do like Dan, play with gradients and colors and opacity and
I agree. Like I think mainly Illustrator is definitely better for that stuff. You won't get me doing many logos and stuff, but occasionally I have, and occasionally I do stuff in Illustrator. Like Illustrator has its uses, just not for me in most of my drawing.
How long does it usually take for you when you do a job?
Do you know what? It's normally about 3 to 4 days for a full piece. But it really depends. I think sometimes it could be quicker. Sometimes it could be longer. Sometimes it could be a couple of weeks. There's no real sort of true length for a piece of artwork. But kind of something I actually want to do in the future is spend longer on work. Like just be like, okay, I'm going to do a piece of work for me, and I might spend, I don't know, a month on it or something.
So Jamie, have you got any UK photographers coming up on the streams? Hey, why, like, of course, we will have all sorts of creatives here on these daily live streams from the sofa. And this is our first one. And from what I can see, you guys like it. And I'm super happy to be back here tomorrow from noon to 1 with another guest. And maybe I can already say who that is. Should we, like, I'm going to break my rule. Tomorrow we're going to have Tina Tooley, who works out of London as well. And she did some incredibly amazing work for Tate Modern. And she's like doing all these interactive installations and crazy designs. And maybe tomorrow there will be a little bit of InDesign. I don't know what Tina has thought about doing for tomorrow, but that could well be.
Okay. Something for everyone.
Yeah. Wow, Dan, the hour is over. And, we're going to keep it to the hour. We could go on for another hour, easy, like you could make the background now, like, where does it, like put in the stars and the planets and or
everything.
Anything, right?
Yeah.
So, any last words for our community, like amazing community? I was truly not expecting so many of you. So thank you for swinging by, and I really hope to see all of you again tomorrow. And Dan, do you want to say anything?
Yeah. No, thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Like it's. I always really enjoy doing these things, and it's always great to see such a great community behind it all. If people have any questions for me, feel free to send me an email or a message on Instagram or whatever. I always do my best to reply to people. And again, like right now, it's going to be weird times for everyone, but just keep creating, if you have a mental block or something, do something else for a few hours. If you have an outside space, go get some fresh air. You know, just try and keep creating, and if it's not working, do something else for a bit. But you know, we'll get through this.
Yeah, we will definitely get through this. Stephanie, one last thought for our community for this first incredible day.
Yeah, I'm super happy that we can now offer Adobe Live in the UK. So obviously that's a big milestone that I've been waiting for ever. And today it's happening from the sofa even. No, it was great getting all these insights from Dan. Super interesting work. And thank you all for joining in. And I hope to see you the rest of the week as well every day. So,
all right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone. Bye, Dan.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, Stephanie.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.